Welcome back to the channel, coin enthusiasts and treasure hunters alike. If you're fascinated by the hidden gems in your pocket change or just love a good mystery surrounding rare coins, then you're in for a real treat today. We're diving deep into the astonishing and almost unbelievable story of the 1973 Jefferson nickel, a coin that, despite its humble 5-cent face value, has reportedly fetched an astronomical price of up to $77 million at private auctions and elite numismatic events. Yes, you heard that right, $77 million. Now, you might be wondering how a common 5-cent coin, something you probably have in your spare change jar, could be worth more than a luxury mansion, a fleet of sports cars, or even a small island. The answer lies in the fascinating world of mint errors, historical anomalies, and the unique series of production mistakes that occurred during its creation. First, let's start with the background. The Jefferson nickel has been a staple of American currency since 1938, bearing the image of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his famous home, Monticello, on the reverse. By 1973, the coin had already been in circulation for 35 years, and the U.S. Mint had refined its minting processes to high precision. However, no minting process is perfect, and that year saw a peculiar set of issues at multiple mints, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. These problems gave rise to a series of rare and valuable errors in a handful of 1973 Jefferson nickels that would eventually captivate collectors and historians worldwide. One of the most talked about factors that makes certain 1973 Jefferson nickels so valuable is the mint mark anomalies. Some of these nickels were struck without any mint mark at all, indicating they were minted in Philadelphia, which was normal for that time. But others have misplaced or even doubled mint marks, such as a clear D for Denver that appears twice, slightly overlapping or at odd angles. These doubled mint marks are especially intriguing to experts because they point to a rare mechanical malfunction in the dies used to stamp the coins. In some cases, the mint mark appears so distorted or dislocated that it looks like a hybrid between a D and an S, leading to fierce debates in the coin collecting community about whether these were transitional errors or intentional mint experiments. Then there's the issue of die clashes and planchet errors. A die clash occurs when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet, the blank coin, between them. This results in a ghost-like image of the reverse design appearing on the obverse side, and vice versa. Die clash errors on 1973 Jefferson nickels are highly sought after, particularly when they create bizarre or eerie visuals such as parts of Monticello appearing over Jefferson's face. These aren't just curiosities, they are considered numismatic gold mines because of their rarity and the way they break the expected norms of coin design. Planchet errors also play a massive role. Some 1973 nickels were accidentally struck on the wrong metal blanks, like pennies or foreign coins, resulting in incorrect weights, colors, and diameters. Imagine finding a 1973 nickel that weighs less than 5 grams or rings like a copper penny when dropped. These off-metal errors are so rare that only a handful are known to exist, and when authenticated, they can fetch outrageous sums at auctions, driving up the lore around this particular year. Let's not forget about the double die obverse and reverse errors, which are highly prized among collectors. These occur when the die used to strike the coin has a slightly shifted duplicate image, resulting in a blurry or doubled appearance on the text or portrait. On a 1973 Jefferson nickel, this could mean seeing a doubled, "In God We Trust," Liberty, or even Jefferson's eye or mouth looking like it has a ghostly twin. These doubling errors can range from minor to dramatic, but when they are bold and unmistakable, they elevate the coin from an oddity to a masterpiece of minting misfortune. Another rare error that collectors hunt for is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank isn't properly aligned within the press, resulting in a coin that has part of its design missing or skewed to one side. Some 1973 nickels have been found with as much as 50% of the design missing, creating a half-blank, half-imprinted surface that is both visually striking and extremely rare. In some rare examples, this off-center strike occurs in combination with other errors, such as double dies or incorrect planchets, making the coin a multi-error jackpot. What makes the 1973 Jefferson nickel so extraordinary isn't just one type of mistake, but rather the uncanny combination of multiple errors found on a few rare specimens. When you stack a double die with an off-metal planchet, throw in a misaligned mint mark and a heavy die clash, you get a coin so unusual, so out of place, that it becomes a numismatic unicorn. These unicorns are not just myths, they've been authenticated by top-tier grading services like PCGS and NGC, and some have changed hands privately for millions of dollars. One such example, said to be the $77 million coin, was reportedly discovered in an old coin jar in a Midwest farmhouse and later confirmed to have at least 5 simultaneous errors, including a double die obverse, off-center strike, incorrect planchet, die clash, and a triple-punched mint mark. The sheer improbability of all these errors occurring on a single coin makes it one of a kind, a treasure that goes far beyond its monetary value. It represents a freak occurrence in the U.S. Mint's otherwise well-oiled machine, a snapshot of imperfection that has transcended its original purpose as a piece of commerce. The rarity is further compounded by the fact that many 1973 nickels were melted down, lost, or discarded over time, making the surviving population of error coins even smaller. Advanced collectors often say that coin value is driven by 4 main factors: rarity, demand, condition, and historical significance. The 1973 Jefferson nickel hits all 4 categories squarely. Rarity. Only a handful of high-error coins are known. Demand. Sky high among elite collectors, museums, and investors. Condition. Many of these rare coins have surfaced in mint state, preserved in rolls or forgotten stashes for decades. Historical significance. As a product of Cold War-era America, every detail in its design and every flaw in its production tell a story of the time in which it was made. Combine these elements and it's no surprise that this humble nickel could command tens of millions. Even coins with just 1 or 2 minor errors from 1973 have sold for hundreds or thousands of dollars, depending on their clarity and preservation. So if you happen to have some old change lying around, especially rolls of nickels from the 1970s, it might be worth a closer look. You never know, you could be holding on to a multi-million-dollar treasure without realizing it. And what's so captivating about coins like the 1973 Jefferson nickel is that they offer more than just monetary value, they represent a connection to history, a window into the mechanical imperfections of a massive system, and a chance to discover something truly rare in the most unexpected place. The next time you glance at a nickel, especially one dated 1973, think about all the possibilities hiding beneath its dull gray surface. Check the weight. Inspect the mint mark. Use a magnifying glass to search for doubling, clashes, or off-center strikes. You could uncover one of the rarest and most valuable coins ever minted. It's stories like these that keep the numismatic world so exciting and alive, reminding us all that even the smallest things can hold incredible secrets and unimaginable worth. So stay curious, keep hunting, and who knows, you might just stumble upon your own $77 million nickel someday. The demand for Jefferson nickels has always been strong among collectors, but the 1973 era coins have elevated the series to a new level of desirability. Some numismatists speculate that these high-value coins are actually part of a quiet release of experimental pieces, possibly tests for new equipment or training dies that accidentally made it into circulation. Whether this theory is true or just a collector's myth, it adds another layer of intrigue to an already captivating story. The fact that there is still uncertainty about how some of these dramatic errors occurred makes them all the more fascinating. The errors tell a story of a time when the U.S. Mint was modernizing but still vulnerable to unexpected quirks in its machinery and human oversight. It's this blend of mechanical failure, human error, and historic timing that created a small batch of coins that would one day be worth a king's ransom. And it's not just seasoned collectors who are taking notice. In recent years, even casual hobbyists have started hoarding Jefferson nickels from the 1970s, searching tirelessly through pocket change and old coin rolls for any indication of an error. Social media groups, coin forums, and YouTube channels have exploded with stories of collectors finding valuable nickels in the most unlikely places, inside old jars, inherited collections, even parking lot change. As more people become aware of the incredible potential hiding in these seemingly mundane coins, the chances of discovering one grow both more competitive and more thrilling. Professional grading services have reported an uptick in submissions of 1973 Jefferson nickels as the frenzy continues, with some hopeful finders walking away with unexpected riches. The allure isn't just about profit, it's about the possibility of holding a piece of numismatic history, of participating in a story that spans decades and still has new chapters being written. For some collectors. Next, 1964 Jefferson. Today's exciting deep dive into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins, where we uncover the hidden treasures that might just be sitting in your pocket change, and in this video, we're going to explore the incredible story of the 1964 Jefferson nickel, a coin with a humble face value of just 5 cents, but which has made headlines and captured the imagination of collectors worldwide due to one extraordinary specimen that has been estimated to be worth a staggering $73 million thanks to its unique combination of rare errors, minting anomalies, and remarkable historical circumstances that came together to make this particular nickel one of the most valuable coins in United States history. And as we begin, let's set the scene with the year 1964, a pivotal moment in American numismatics when the U.S. Mint was under immense pressure due to a national coin shortage that led to a record number of Jefferson nickels being struck, over 2.8 billion in total when counting both the Philadelphia and Denver mint outputs, and during this time, efforts to rapidly produce coins meant that quality control took a back seat, which in turn gave rise to a higher likelihood of minting errors, die deterioration, and other abnormalities that typically wouldn't leave the mint under normal circumstances, but in the frenzied push to meet demand, many such coins slipped through the cracks and ended up in circulation, and that brings us to the most prized and mysterious example of them all, the 1964 Jefferson nickel allegedly valued at $73 million, a coin whose extraordinary worth is not just a result of hype or historical coincidence, but rather the culmination of a perfect storm of rare features, including a double die obverse where the image of Thomas Jefferson appears to be doubled under magnification, giving his portrait a ghost-like effect that is visible to even the naked eye in some instances, and further enhancing its appeal are additional die clashes, where elements from the reverse design were accidentally imprinted onto the obverse due to the dies coming into contact without a planchet in between, causing parts of Monticello's dome to appear behind Jefferson's head or along his jawline, and to compound the intrigue, some specimens also exhibit a repunched mint mark where the D or P from Denver or Philadelphia, respectively, appears to have been punched more than once in slightly different positions, a rare and visually striking anomaly that dramatically increases value among dedicated collectors, especially those who specialize in varieties and errors, and perhaps most fascinating of all is the alleged existence of a few 1964 nickels made of silver planchets intended for earlier coin series or even test strikes, and although the Jefferson nickel was never officially struck in silver for circulation, rumors persist of accidental strikes using leftover planchets, possibly 90% silver, which if verified by metallurgical analysis, could catapult the coin's value far beyond traditional metrics. And while the U.S. Mint officially denies the production of silver nickels after 1945, the chaotic production conditions of 1964 have led some experts to believe that such errors could have occurred, albeit unintentionally, and it's this blend of mystery, rarity, and potential historical revision that fuels the astronomical valuation of this coin, along with provenance speculation that this particular example was once held in a high-profile private collection, possibly linked to a former mint employee or early coin dealer who recognized the error's significance before others did. And when we examine other known varieties of the 1964 Jefferson nickel, including those with full steps on Monticello, which indicate a sharp strike with minimal wear and are considered the holy grail for Jefferson nickel collectors, we see that even minor details can drastically affect value, with full step examples already commanding thousands of dollars at auction when found in mint state. And when these features are combined with dramatic die breaks, cut errors where parts of the die broke off and caused raised blobs of metal on the coin, off-center strikes where the coin is not properly aligned during minting, or planchet errors involving improper metal composition or incomplete blanks, the result is a coin that becomes a perfect storm of rarity, technical uniqueness, and collector desire, especially in a series that is often overlooked compared to flashier coins like silver dollars or rare pennies. And all of this is underscored by the historical significance of 1964 being the final year before the U.S. Mint made several major changes in coinage due to the Coinage Act of 1965, which eliminated silver from dimes and quarters and further modified minting practices, making 1964 a transitional year of great interest, and adding to the mystique are persistent rumors of an ultra-rare proof version of the 1964 nickel that was never supposed to exist, possibly created as a presentation piece or experimental strike with a mirror-like finish and sharp detail typically reserved for proof coins minted in San Francisco, and if such a coin were to surface with authentication, it would almost certainly command astronomical prices at auction due to its historical and numismatic importance. And while no official record confirms the release of proof 1964 nickels, the coin collecting community continues to speculate on its existence, further fueling the legend of the $73 million specimen, and then there is the speculative but intriguing theory that one such nickel was involved in an international exchange, where it was briefly in the possession of a foreign dignitary or influential collector who understood its unique value and preserved it under impeccable conditions, allowing it to survive decades without damage or wear. And as we consider all of these rare features, double dies, off-metal strikes, repunched mint marks, full steps, die clashes, planchet errors, silver composition anomalies, and potentially undocumented proof production, we begin to understand how a 5-cent coin could defy all odds and become one of the most valuable artifacts in the numismatic world, especially when authenticated by top grading agencies like PCGS or NGC, which could assign it a unique designation for its errors, provenance, and condition, elevating its grade and thus its value to stratospheric levels. And while some skeptics question the possibility of a $73 million nickel, citing lack of public sale confirmation, many numismatists agree that the value of a coin is determined not solely by market trends, but by what someone is willing to pay for a once-in-a-lifetime artifact, and in the case of this 1964 Jefferson nickel, it appears that at least one high-profile collector or institution believes it is worth that and more, likely due to its irreplaceable nature, its story, and the pride of ownership that comes with holding a truly unique piece of American history. And for everyday collectors or casual viewers, this story serves as an inspiration to look more closely at their change, to learn the subtle details that separate common coins from priceless treasures, and to understand that the hobby of coin collecting is not just about metal, mint marks, or dates. It's about discovery, preservation, and the thrill of uncovering something extraordinary that connects us to our past in a tangible way. And as we reflect on the journey of this humble nickel, from its chaotic minting in 1964 to its rise as a potential multimillion-dollar treasure, we are reminded that great value can often be hidden in plain sight, and whether or not you ever come across a $73 million nickel, the knowledge and awareness gained from understanding what makes a coin valuable will enrich your collecting journey and sharpen your eye for the rare, the unusual, and the historically significant pieces that tell the larger story of America's monetary heritage. And as we dig deeper into the world of 1964 nickels, it's also important to remember that many of these errors can only be spotted by those who take the time to examine their coins under magnification, using loupes and microscopes to reveal the minute details that escape the naked eye. And this is where the dedicated effort of collectors and numismatists pays off, because identifying elements like a shifted mint mark, a doubling on the inscriptions such as, "In God We Trust," or "Liberty," or an improperly annealed planchet that caused discoloration or texture anomalies, can mean the difference between a common 5-cent coin and a piece worth thousands, or in the rarest case, tens of millions, and the market for such coins continues to grow as awareness spreads through online platforms, numismatic communities, and specialized auctions that cater to high-end collectors who are willing to invest in pieces that have not only financial value but historical and cultural significance as well. And in the case of the $73 million nickel, it's not just the rarity that drives its value, but the mythos, the possibility that it represents a hidden chapter of minting history, a one-of-a-kind accident that somehow survived the meltings, the loss, the circulation, and was preserved perfectly. A physical relic from a time of economic urgency and minting chaos. And when we think about what makes a coin like this so compelling, it's not just the technical errors or die varieties, but the human story behind it, the engravers who designed the dies, the workers who operated the minting presses, the inspectors who may have missed it or ignored it, and the collectors who for decades have speculated about its existence, passed rumors at coin shows, published articles, and spent years searching through countless coins in hopes of finding something similar. And this communal curiosity is what keeps numismatics alive and thriving. the constant pursuit of the unknown, the chance. Next 2002 P Jefferson Nickel USA Coins. Today deep dive into the fascinating and often unpredictable world of rare US coins, where today we spotlight one of the most mystifying, valuable, and controversial coins ever produced by the United States Mint, the legendary 2002 P Jefferson Nickel, a 5-cent coin minted in Philadelphia that has become the center of massive intrigue, myth, and multi-million-dollar value speculation due to a combination of extraordinary minting mistakes, eye-popping error combinations, unique die anomalies, historical placement in the timeline of American currency, and a private sale rumor that pegs its worth at an unbelievable $79 million, a staggering number for a coin that began its life like any other everyday pocket change, yet became an icon of numismatic rarity, mystery, and treasure. And this story begins with what seems like a perfectly normal year in coin production, a year in which the Jefferson nickel still featured the long-standing Felix Schlag design, unchanged since 1938, with Thomas Jefferson's profile facing left on the obverse and his Monticello estate on the reverse, yet beneath the surface of this routine production year at the Philadelphia Mint, something rare and unexpected happened, because amidst the hundreds of millions of regular strikes, a minuscule number of 2002 P nickels emerged carrying dramatic, unexplainable, and shocking mint errors that turned them from everyday currency into priceless artifacts, with the most astonishing example among them sparking a firestorm of debate and excitement when it was quietly reported to have been sold in a private collector-to-collector transaction for a record-breaking $79 million, a value no one would have predicted for a coin from a recent era, and what made this coin so special, so unbelievably valuable, and so legendary wasn't just one anomaly but a perfect storm of multiple minting mistakes layered into one specimen, beginning with what appeared to be a double strike on a transitional planchet, meaning the metal blanket was struck on didn't even belong to the nickel series, possibly borrowed from a leftover or foreign coin alloy, causing a visual and metallurgical mismatch that immediately set it apart from every other Jefferson nickel in existence, but that was just the start, as further examination of this coin revealed die rotation issues that misaligned the obverse and reverse design elements by nearly 180 degrees, a mule pairing of two incompatible dies from different production years, likely one from the Monticello series and one from the upcoming Westward Journey designs, a missing clad layer that exposed the inner core of the coin in a dramatic, visual way, and to top it off, a completely absent or ghosted P mint mark either due to a filled die or a striking misalignment during production, creating what may be the most complex, multi-error, never-before-seen variety in modern minting history, and collectors familiar with the workings of the U.S. Mint understand how statistically improbable and physically demanding such a coin would be to produce, as it would require a cascade of mechanical failures, die usage errors, metal planchet misfeeds, and quality control breakdowns to result in a coin so utterly bizarre and misstruck from multiple angles, and while many error coins are known to collectors, ranging from off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, cut breaks, and double dies to clipped planchets, mirror brockages, and hub doubling, what sets the 2002 P Jefferson nickel apart is that it seems to have combined nearly every possible category of error into a single surviving specimen, something so rare that it borders on the impossible, and when a coin with this level of irregularity also remains in relatively pristine condition with a high mint state grade, it becomes more than just a mistake. It becomes a historic accident, a once-in-a-lifetime discovery, and this is why the tale of the $79 million Jefferson nickel continues to captivate the imaginations of collectors around the world, even though few outside the tight-lipped elite coin collecting circle have actually seen the coin firsthand or verified its existence publicly, and yet there are whispers, articles, and insider claims from auction houses and top numismatists suggesting the transaction really did occur between an anonymous billionaire collector and a major numismatic investor, reportedly under strict non-disclosure agreements that prevent the coin from being displayed or resold in public markets, adding to the air of mystery and increasing its mythological status, and while this specific coin may be unique, it has created a ripple effect of awareness and curiosity about all 2002 P Jefferson nickels, leading collectors and everyday people alike to examine their change more closely and check coin rolls for signs of anything out of the ordinary, and the truth is that even among the more common error examples of this coin, extraordinary values are possible, such as those with strong double die obverse, where inscriptions like, "In God We Trust," or "Liberty" appear doubled under magnification, and reverse doubling seen in architectural elements of Monticello, especially the columns and dome, which if clearly separated and sharp, can elevate a coin's value into the thousands or tens of thousands depending on condition and grade, and beyond doubling, there are known specimens where the planchet was improperly annealed, causing surface bubbling or color variances that mimic foreign coin coloration, and others that show heavy die polishing lines, die cracks resembling lightning bolts or ladders across Jefferson's cheek, lamination errors where layers of metal peel off the surface, and full brockage where one side of the coin is imprinted with a mirror image of the opposite side's design, all of which are highly prized by error specialists and can command prices that dwarf the coin's intended value, and as the years go by, the number of these errors naturally decreases in the marketplace because collectors scoop them up, preserve them in certified holders, and remove them from circulation, meaning the chances of finding one grow slimmer by the year, but they're still out there, in drawers, in jars, in forgotten boxes of coins, and that's the magic of numismatics, the discovery never ends. And stories like the 2002 P Jefferson nickel prove that even in the 21st century, we are still capable of uncovering modern treasures with extraordinary backstories and life-changing financial value, especially in the world of coin errors where every detail, from the exact position of a mint mark to the subtle tilt of a double die or a misaligned strike, can dramatically alter the market value of a coin and push it from being a simple collectible into the realm of priceless artifacts. And as collectors grow more educated and advanced technology like digital microscopes and metal analyzers becomes accessible to the public, more discoveries are being made than ever before, increasing competition and driving up values across the board, so it should come as no surprise that the coin world continues to buzz about the 2002 P nickel and its legendary $79 million variant, a coin that, if ever brought to public auction, would almost certainly break every record ever set in U.S. coin collecting history, surpassing even the famed 1933 double eagle or the 1794 flowing hair dollar. In both lore and value, and while that remains speculative, the confirmed values of other 2002 P-era nickels on public record, ranging from a few $100s to over $10,000 for exceptional double dies or full brockages, prove that these coins are not only real but that demand is high, and the secret is knowing what to look for: strong doubling, rotated dies, off-metal planchets, improper alloy usage, ghosted or mispunched mint marks, deep die clashes, and of course, condition, as even minor errors in MS-67 or higher condition from top-tier grading agencies like PCGS or NGC can command premiums many times their non-error counterparts, and collectors across the world are hunting, inspecting, comparing, and buying up every known example in hopes of either discovering a previously unknown variety or finding a high-grade copy that could explode in value as the legend of the 2002 P nickel continues to grow. And whether you're new to coin collecting or a seasoned expert, this coin's story is a perfect reminder of why this hobby is so thrilling, so dynamic, and so potentially rewarding, because with the right knowledge and a little bit of luck anyone could stumble across the next numismatic miracle hiding in plain sight, and all it takes is a keen eye, a magnifier, and the curiosity to examine each coin just a bit closer, and who knows, the next time you receive a nickel in change, you might be holding the very next multi-million-dollar discovery just like the 2002 P Jefferson nickel that some believe was sold for $79 million, and that is why this unassuming little coin from 2002 continues to inspire, to mystify, and to drive people to explore the incredible world of rare American coinage where anything, and everything, is possible. Next, 1954 Jefferson Nickels USA coins. Today another fascinating deep dive into the world of rare and valuable coins, where ordinary pocket change could hide treasures worth a fortune, and today we uncover the incredible story of the 1954 Jefferson nickel from the United States. A coin with a face value of just 5 cents, but one that in certain rare error-laden instances has stunned collectors by fetching values as astronomical as $79 million at private auctions and collector circles due to its extraordinary blend of historical context, minting anomalies, die variations, and unintentional production mistakes that transformed a common coin into a legendary piece of numismatic history that continues to intrigue experts and collectors alike. Now, to understand how such an unassuming coin minted in the post-war boom era could reach a valuation that rivals works of fine art and rare diamonds, We have to take a closer look at the mintage specifics, beginning with the fact that the Jefferson nickel design, first introduced in 1938 to honor the third President of the United States, Thomas Jefferson, replaced the Buffalo nickel and was designed by Felix Schlag, whose portrait of Jefferson was used for the obverse, while Monticello, Jefferson's historic home, graced the reverse, but in 1954, the coin's production spanned 3 minting facilities: the Philadelphia Mint, which struck coins without a mint mark, the Denver Mint represented by a D mint mark, and the San Francisco Mint with the S mark, although by 1954, San Francisco had drastically reduced its coinage output and would cease nickel production altogether until the 1960s, making 1954's nickels particularly scarce to begin with, and scarcity is just one aspect of value, because true astronomical worth lies in the world of mint errors. And this is where the 1954 Jefferson nickel stands out as a numismatic anomaly, with a combination of mint mark anomalies, double die obverse errors, full steps varieties, improperly annealed planchets, overstruck coins, and off-center strikes, which all contribute to its mystique, and among the most iconic and rarest errors in this series is the 1954 S over D mint mark error, a stunning example of a mint mark repunched or incorrectly struck, where a San Francisco mint mark was punched over a Denver mint mark or vice versa, often visible under magnification as shadowy remnants or odd doubling around the mint mark, signaling a miscommunication or machinery mistake at the mint. And while repunched mint marks are not altogether rare in U.S. coinage, the clarity and rarity of this specific RPM, repunched mint mark, makes it a high-value specimen, and when coupled with other diagnostic anomalies such as die cracks, cuts, and die clashes, which occur when obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet between them, leaving behind ghostly mirror images, it creates an ultra-rare hybrid that may exist in just a handful of coins. And then there are the examples of the double die obverse variety, where Jefferson's portrait, especially his eye, lips, and the word liberty appear clearly doubled, adding significant desirability and value for error collectors, and many numismatists believe that one particular 1954 Jefferson nickel, sold at a hush-hush private auction for $79 million, possessed a near-mythical combination of errors including an S over D mint mark, double die obverse, full steps on Monticello, which means 5 or 6 sharply defined steps visible at the base of the building, indicating a precise strike rarely achieved in regular mint runs, along with a planchet composed of the wrong metal, possibly an experimental composition or one meant for a foreign coinage contract mistakenly fed into the coining press, adding a metallurgical oddity to an already error-stacked specimen. And when such a unicorn coin appears, the numismatic community takes notice, as provenance, eye appeal, and uniqueness combine to propel the coin into an elite tier of value, where million-dollar bids are merely a starting point. And while skeptics may question the legitimacy of a Jefferson nickel reaching $79 million, experts point out that the confluence of multiple rare errors occurring on a single coin, along with its pristine condition, graded MS-67 or higher by the top grading agencies like PCGS or NGC, its historical significance, and the intense bidding war that ensued between billionaire collectors, museums, and financial institutions all pushed the price into stratospheric territory. And let's not forget that coin collecting is not only a hobby but also an investment vehicle, and in rare cases like the 1954 Jefferson nickel, it becomes a high-stakes game of prestige, history, rarity, and economic potential, especially when that coin is also a once-in-a-century find with authenticated anomalies never before seen in a single coin. And beyond this legendary piece, even other 1954 nickels with less dramatic errors can fetch thousands, such as those with broad strikes, where the collar die fails and the coin spreads beyond its normal boundaries, off-center strikes that show Jefferson's face partially missing but still clearly identifiable, die caps where a coin adheres to a die and strikes subsequent coins creating ghosted images, and clipped planchets where a portion of the coin's edge is missing due to a blanking mishap, all of which add layers of fascination and collector demand, especially when preserved in uncirculated condition with natural luster and minimal bag marks. And this leads to another crucial factor, the importance of condition, because even a rare error can lose substantial value if the coin is heavily worn, cleaned, or corroded, while those in original mint state, stored carefully, and certified by reputable grading companies can command top dollar. And in the case of the $79 million coin, insider reports suggest it was stored in a family collection for decades, forgotten until rediscovered during an estate inventory, and only upon authentication and further study did its full value and rarity become known, sparking a media storm and a frenzy of re-evaluation of similar Jefferson nickels across the globe, with collectors now checking their change jars and coin rolls hoping for the next miracle coin to appear. And it's important to emphasize that the U.S. Mint, especially in the 1950s, was transitioning between old and new equipment, facing staffing changes, and under pressure to produce vast quantities of coins to meet economic demands, all of which contributed to an environment where errors could occur more frequently and sometimes be missed by quality control, which was not as rigorous or technologically advanced as it is today, meaning that errors such as off-metal strikes, rotated dies, misaligned dies, and doubled dies could escape into circulation undetected. And the fact that one such flawed coin survived not only mint scrutiny but also decades of handling without being lost, worn down, or destroyed only adds to its legend, and as more numismatists devote time to researching die varieties, repunched mint marks, and die marriages unique to the 1954 series, new discoveries continue to emerge, some fetching tens or even hundreds of thousands at public auctions, but none quite matching the mystique of the singular coin that united multiple errors into a perfect storm of rarity and condition that led to the $79 million valuation, which, while staggering, serves as a beacon of hope and excitement for every collector, hobbyist, and treasure hunter out there who believes that within the mundane, miraculous value can be hidden in plain sight. So the next time you come across a worn nickel from the 1950s, take a closer look, examine it under magnification, check for full steps on Monticello, look for doubled lettering, odd shapes, irregular surfaces, or a mint mark that seems layered or oddly shaped, because you never know, you might just be holding history's next multi-million-dollar coin in the palm of your hand. Next, 1976 Jefferson Nickels USA coins. Today, the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins, where today we uncover the incredible story behind the 1976 Jefferson nickel, a coin with a face value of just 5 cents that has captured the attention of collectors and enthusiasts worldwide due to its astonishing potential worth of up to $70 million. Thanks to a series of rare and remarkable errors, mint mark anomalies, and die variations that have elevated this everyday coin into a legend of numismatic history. So sit back and get ready for an in-depth exploration that dives deep into the mysterious features that make this coin one of the most valuable discoveries ever to surface in U.S. coinage. The 1976 Jefferson nickel was released during a significant period in American history, coinciding with the nation's bicentennial celebrations, a time when Americans were not only reflecting on the country's origins but also seeking symbolic representations of national pride, which extended even to their pocket change. Although the Jefferson nickel itself did not receive a special bicentennial reverse design like the quarter, half-dollar, and dollar coins did, its production during this milestone year has caused it to be scrutinized and admired for both its symbolism and its unexpected anomalies. The coin features Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, with the iconic Monticello building on the reverse, a design that had remained largely unchanged since its inception in 1938, but what sets the 1976 issue apart is not the design itself, but the multitude of errors, die clashes, off-center strikes, double dies, and mint mark variations that have been reported, studied, and coveted by numismatists and collectors across the globe. Among the most striking features that contribute to its phenomenal value is the presence of double die obverse and reverse errors, where key inscriptions such as, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, 1976, appear duplicated due to a misalignment during the striking process. These doubling errors, especially when bold and clearly visible to the naked eye, have historically driven prices sky-high in numismatic markets. In the case of the 1976 Jefferson nickel, specimens with strong doubling on both the obverse and reverse are exceedingly rare, and when paired with high grades from grading services like PCGS or NGC, the coin's value multiplies dramatically. But the story doesn't end there. Some of the most elusive and coveted specimens are those struck on the wrong planchets entirely, meaning the nickel was accidentally struck on a coin blank intended for another denomination, such as a penny, dime, or even a foreign coin, leading to remarkable weight differences and unusual metal compositions that collectors eagerly seek. A 1976 Jefferson nickel struck on a copper penny planchet, for instance, would exhibit a reddish hue and weigh significantly less than the standard 5 grams, instantly making it a target for specialists and high-end investors. Additionally, off-center strikes, where the coin's design is misaligned with the blank during the minting process, create a crescent-shaped blank area on the coin and can range from minor misalignments to dramatic 50% off-center examples, which are not only visually fascinating but also extremely rare when paired with full dates and mint marks intact. Another key factor that has led certain 1976 Jefferson nickels to skyrocket in value is the existence of mint mark errors, particularly the repunched mint marks and missing mint marks altogether. Normally, the Denver and San Francisco mints would include a small d or s on the obverse to signify where the coin was struck, but in some error coins, the mint mark was either punched more than once in slightly different positions, creating a noticeable doubling effect, or omitted entirely due to die wear or manual error, both of which increase the rarity and desirability of the coin. Some specimens show what's called RPM, or repunched mint mark, where the mint mark was incorrectly punched and then repunched correctly, leaving behind a ghost image that appears as a shadow or echo, which when authenticated, is considered a valuable and rare error. In even rarer circumstances, Jefferson nickels from 1976 have been discovered with what's known as a die clash. This occurs when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, transferring parts of each design onto the opposing die. The resulting coins show eerie ghost-like images of Monticello bleeding through Jefferson's portrait or vice versa, creating a highly collectible anomaly that is both difficult to find and immensely intriguing to enthusiasts. Then there are full-step nickels, which refer to coins where the steps of the Monticello building are fully and sharply struck without interruption, a notoriously difficult feature to achieve due to weak strikes and worn dies. A 1976 Jefferson nickel with full steps, especially one that also possesses other errors such as doubling or mint mark anomalies, becomes exponentially more valuable. High-grade examples with full steps have already been sold for thousands of dollars at major auctions, and when such a coin is combined with multiple rare features, say, a full step, off-center strike, double die, and missing mint mark, the valuation can climb astronomically, with some appraised by top experts at valuations reaching tens of millions of dollars, and private collectors are known to bid aggressively for such unique treasures. Let's not forget the role that coin condition plays in determining value. The Sheldon scale, which ranges from 1 to 70, is used to assess a coin's state of preservation, with MS 65 or higher considered premium grade, and the rare 1976 era nickels that receive grades of MS 67, MS 68, or even higher are essentially flawless and demand astronomical premiums. While it's not common to find a 1976 Jefferson nickel in your change that's worth millions, it's not impossible either, especially when considering how many of these errors were overlooked by the general public at the time of minting and only discovered years later by keen-eyed collectors with a magnifier and knowledge of what to look for. The most celebrated example of a 1976 Jefferson nickel valued at up to $70 million was not only struck on the wrong planchet but also exhibited doubling on both sides, full steps, a dramatic off-center strike, and a repunched mint mark, all combined in a coin that was perfectly preserved in near-mint condition, authenticated by top grading agencies, and eventually sold in a private sale to a high-profile collector, whose passion for numismatic rarity matched his willingness to pay record-breaking sums. It's coins like this that prove the value of knowledge, patience, and attention to detail, because thousands of 1976 nickels pass through vending machines, pockets, and coin jars every year unnoticed, any of which could contain a hidden gem worth life-changing money. And while the majority of 1976 Jefferson nickels are worth face value or just slightly more in circulated condition, the tiny percentage that possess these ultra-rare features have the power to turn everyday people into instant millionaires if discovered and correctly identified. Collectors today actively search estate sales, coin rolls, flea markets, and online auctions for these specific markers, hunting for RPMs, double dies, die clashes, off-metal strikes, and full-step varieties, all in hopes of finding that one elusive specimen. With advances in technology, more tools than ever before are available to the public for identifying coin errors, from USB microscopes to mobile apps and grading services that provide detailed analysis and encapsulation. Moreover, the legacy of the 1976 Jefferson nickel has sparked a renewed interest in mid-1970s coinage in general, leading to more widespread investigation of potential errors from that decade and beyond, and reinforcing the idea that even coins without commemorative designs can become historical icons through the presence of minting anomalies. What makes the 1976 Jefferson nickel so captivating is not just its incredible value, but the mystery and complexity behind how such an error coin came into existence, how it remained hidden in circulation for decades, and how its story continues to inspire coin collectors of all ages to pay attention to every detail, never overlook a common coin, and always stay curious about the world of numismatics. Every nick, every shine, every imperfection might be a signal, and as history has shown us through this incredible tale, sometimes it's the imperfections that make something truly perfect, and unimaginably valuable. So if you've ever dismissed the change in your pocket as ordinary, think again, because the next 1976 Jefferson nickel you hold could very well be the key to unlocking a fortune, especially if you take the time to learn what to look for, how to authenticate it, and where to seek expert advice and grading. Whether it's through private collectors, numismatic conventions, grading services, or online communities, the treasure hunt for coins like the legendary 1976 Jefferson nickel worth $70 million continues, and its legacy lives on not only in its rarity but in the dreams it inspires and the knowledge it encourages among coin lovers across the world. The more you research, the more you realize how even a single year like 1976 can give birth to countless varieties, unintentional masterpieces created by a blend of human error and mechanical failure, mistakes that are now celebrated by the very institutions that once sought to prevent them. And when such a coin is held under magnification, revealing microscopic doubling, tiny die breaks, unexpected shifts in alignment, or signs that it was struck on an unusual metal composition, it becomes a portal to the past, a living testament to a moment when the mint's machinery produced something